Thousands of protesters march in central London to call for UK to rejoin the EU.
Here's a summary of the article.
Thousands of protesters have flooded the streets of central London to call for the UK to rejoin the EU. The National Rejoin March on Saturday saw demonstrators, who had travelled from across the UK, walk from Park Lane to Parliament Square. Protesters dressed in the EU's blue and yellow colours, with many holding signs that said, "Brexit was never going to work," "For lower bills pound rejoin the EU," and "We voted Remain." The crowd booed as a large digital screen overlooking Parliament Square Garden showed pictures of Leave voting figures such as Boris Johnson, Priti Patel and Nigel Farage. Oliver Jackson, a 26-year-old warehouse worker from Dorset, said that it was important for politicians to listen to those who wanted to rejoin the EU. He said, "We need to get our voice heard. Honestly, the best way to get the UK back on track is to rejoin, at the very least, the single market and then the EU. Brexit has been the slow death that has been bleeding the UK dry for years. Personally, I have a second home in Spain, and I've been impacted directly. It puts me very much top of the pile. But I've seen the benefits of the EU, and free movement, both myself and other people around me." Joshua Alotti, 57, from Winchester, who works for a local authority, believed the UK would continue to suffer because of having left the EU. He said, "Leaving was a bad mistake."
This post received a score of 51,000, with an upvote ratio of 89%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
At the risk of putting on my tinfoil hat, there is absolutely no mention of this on the BBC, or Sky News or any of the major British news sites. I was there today and there were a good few thousand people there, and yet, little to no media coverage?
Yeah, the BBC was more interested in spending all day telling everyone that Boris definitely has 100 megapixels backers, but it's a secret who they are and they definitely exist.
I swear my MP just goes to a different school.
In the US, we say, "I have a girlfriend, boyfriend, but they live in Canada."
Let us back in.
We voted Remain.
I thought Leave won.
Burback.
Regret. A lot of us didn't want it in the first place.
Bre told ya so.
Reunion.
Brentering.
Breaking and brentering.
The whole thing is a bad experience.
A bad bromance. Brian Bedoned.
Breaking Brexit.
Bretgrit.
EU. Let's just be Breens.
It's so funny that the politicians are the last to recognize a failed experiment policy. It's the old, refuse to admit we're wrong, and it has no place when running a country. Stop acting like a 10-year-old who won't admit you broke the fucking lamp.
The problem is a lot of them are schooled at Eton and learned the same manner, which is literally do not admit you were wrong. Set a goal, do it, and point to it being done as a success. Simply making a decision and follow it.
A lot of these schools don't actually teach management. Top level comes up with a sort of vague idea and it gets pitched to VPs and directors. They sort of bodge up a framework and kick it to middle management who actually have to make the pose work. When middle management sees something that simply will not work, you get told to make it work while simultaneously being told bullshit like not to be negative or something.
Don't be negative. Fuck, I hate that. Our boss keeps using that when we raise the issue of not having enough staff to manage the courses and students we're supposed to manage at our university. Like, WTF do you mean don't be negative? It's like asking me to sit down and seriously discuss how to rearrange the furniture in the living room and complaining that me bringing up that the house is on fucking fire is a negative attitude. God, I really despise management sometimes.
Just rephrase it in a positive way, like the aim is to spiral into failure. We're currently ahead of schedule in maximizing a decrease in profits and a decline in services, and we're well on our way to the target of a complete business shutdown. Woo.
Maybe they should have a referendum on the subject.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.